he may have been the only father figure that some of these young men had.
Objection, Your Honor.
Now, you want to talk about the truth? They can't handle the truth, and neither can you. Your Honor, this is my time to talk, and I expect them to be respecting my time to talk.
He's 4-17
You're 91-0
in the playoffs.
No.
You are out of order.
Out of order? This whole damn courtroom is out of order.
Welcome to DWI. We got a special edition for you guys. Welcome to our courtroom. You see the courtroom in the background. I'm your judge presiding, the Honorable Judge Duvey. I have my esteemed colleagues here with me, Attorney Illy
Edgar Snyder.
at law.
391-2104. This is Illy Edgar Snyder, 391-2104. And I will win this case.
I got my other esteemed colleague here, the Attorney A-Wax.
Wax Cochran. Here we go. If the glove don't fit, you know the rest.
We brought you here today because you out there, you're the jury. You read the title, you read the headlines, you know who we're here for. We need your verdict on this. We will present both sides. So, with no further ado, ladies and gentlemen of the court, esteemed colleagues, and dedicated supporters to our Pittsburgh Steelers, today we gather to examine a matter of significance to our beloved franchise, the tenure of Coach Mike Tomlin. As we embark on this trial, it's essential to recognize both the achievements and challenges that have characterized Mike Tomlin's tenure. While his record boasts impressive accomplishments, including Super Bowl victories, Super Bowl appearances, and playoff appearances, we must also acknowledge moments of disappointment and missed opportunities. In our deliberations, we must consider not only tangible outcomes on the field, but also the intangible qualities that define effective leadership. We must weigh Coach Tomlin's ability to motivate and guide his players against any shortcomings in game strategy or player development. Additionally, we cannot overlook the broader impact of Coach Tomlin's presence in the community, his commitment to charitable endeavors, and his positive influence on young athletes are commendable. Yet we must also assess whether his leadership style aligns with the long-term goals and values of this organization. As we proceed, let us approach this trial with impartiality and a commitment to fairness. Let us carefully evaluate the evidence presented and consider the diverse perspectives of all stakeholders involved. Ultimately, our decision must reflect not only the past achievements of Coach Tomlin, but also the potential growth and improvement in the future. May we strive for justice and integrity in our deliberations, mindful of the profound impact our verdict will have on the Pittsburgh Steelers and our beloved fan base. All right, we're going to have our opening statements. Attorney Illy Edgar Snyder, who will be representing Coach Tomlin, he'll have his opening statement.
Judge, I'd like to tell you thank you for letting me smoke in the courtroom. Now, to defend Coach Tomlin, we got to highlight the consistent success with the Pittsburgh Steelers. And that's in multiple playoff appearances, Super Bowl wins. Right now, I'd like to take this time to emphasize his ability to adapt to changing the circumstance, maintaining competitive teams, as well as his positive impact on and off the field for the players and their development. Not only that, the contribution to this stable, respectable franchise. Now, I'd like to take this time to let you guys know at home, if you can, please subscribe, like, and share this, because this is about to go down. This is Illy Edgar Snyder, 391-2105. 391-2105. Now, listen, if Nookie answers, okay, leave a message. That's the number to Boo Boo's beeper, okay? Leave your name and number. I'm going to have my brother check. He's going to get back to me, and then we're going to go ahead and work it out. Because I want to see a triumph happening. Now, I'd like to send a shout out to Mr. and Mrs. Rooney. They're the ones that hired me to defend Coach Tomlin. And in the words of the great Muhammad Ali, if we can't get along, let's get it on. That'll be all, Your Honor.
Thank you, Illy, for your great opening statement. I want to turn it to the prosecution for his opening statement. Attorney Wax Cochran.
Thank you, Your Honor. And thank you, Court, for allowing me to speak today on the case of Mike Tomlin. In no way, shape, or form is this an attack on Mike Tomlin, the man. We are strictly here to talk about his performance as the head of the Pittsburgh Steelers, like the head coach, and why I feel like it's time for him to go. This, like I said, he does a lot for the community. He's a great coach in a lot of people's eyes, but as a Steelers fan, I will not sit here and settle for mediocrity. And that's not what it is to be a Steelers fan. And I'm ready to rumble. I hope you have everything in order, because it's on.
Thank you, Attorney Cochran. We've heard our opening statements. It's going to be a lively courtroom today. I don't want any shenanigans. I got my gavel here, and I will shut down all this shit. God damn it. And I will continue with these proceedings. We will turn this over to Attorney Illy Edgar Snyder to present his case.
Thank you, Judge Duvey, Joe Brown. And I'd like to also thank you again for letting me smoke in the courtroom. Now, thank you, viewers at home, DWI subscribers. I'd like to paint a little picture for you. It's about a young boy named Michael Tomlin, born March 15th, 1972, in Hampton, Virginia. Now, the 70s was cold, very cold, but he found a source of comfort knowing that one day he would indeed become a coach. He went to high school in Newport News, Virginia. He went to college at William and Mary. He played football there from 1990 to 94. He was a receivers coach at VMI. He went to Memphis in 1996. Defensive back coach, Cincinnati Bengals. Defensive back coach. And this was in 1999, in the year 2000 as well. Then he took a stint with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers from 2001 to 2005. Right after that, he went to Minnesota, and that's in 2006. But the year 2007, Your Honor, people at home, Wax Cochran, that was the year that everything changed in the city of Pittsburgh. That was the year that I myself became a believer, because it was that very year, 2007. It was a rebuilding year. We knew it was going to have to be that way, but we didn't know when the next Super Bowl would arise. He took us to a Super Bowl pretty much in 2 seasons. In 2008, he won his very first championship, and at that year, he became the youngest coach to ever win a championship. Now, I don't want that to go dismissed. I don't want you guys to not notice greatness when you see it. See, this case isn't about Michael Tomlin himself as a person. This is about his role as head coach and putting the players in place to make the performance play. I do want to go on record, Your Honor, as stating that in his tenure, he has had 0 losing seasons. Not 1 losing season. Now, I know what the prosecution is going to say. They're going to try to more or less tear him down from the inside. They're going to bring up the fact that he hasn't went that far in the playoffs in the last 5 or so years. I understand that. That's their job. But I am going to defend Coach Tomlin until Coach Tomlin has the respect he deserves. Your Honor, I have nothing else to say.
All right. We will turn this over to the prosecution. Let's hear from Attorney A. Wax Cochran.
Thank you, Your Honor. My role today is not to tear down Mike Tomlin. Off the field, I feel like he's a stand-up man. I think he does a lot for the community. I think he's a great coach to play for. But as a Steeler fan, I feel that his head coaching tenure is mediocre at best. Although he won a Super Bowl, you can actually say that the team that won that Super Bowl was everybody that Cowher, our coach prior to Mike Tomlin, drafted and put on the field. So he takes Cowher's team, wins a Super Bowl. Okay? Like Edgar Snyder said, he was the youngest coach to do so, which is a great feat. But at the same time, he took somebody else's team to win the Super Bowl. Okay? Now, from here on out, I'm just going to spit all facts. Okay? So allow me to go through my notes and talk about what's going on the field. Okay? 2007, he has a 10-6 record. He loses the first game in the playoffs. 2008, like I said, he has Bill Cowher's team. He goes all the way and wins the Super Bowl. Okay, that's kudos to him. He did a great job as a head coach that time. But from here on out is mediocre. We reach the Super Bowl one more time, and we play the Green Bay Packers, and we lose. 2009, our record is 9-7. We don't even reach the playoffs. 2010, we go 12-4. We had one of the best teams in the NFL. We win 2 games and lose 1. So no Super Bowl appearance there. 2011, 12-4. We lose our very first game in the playoffs. 2012, we go 8-8. Don't even make the playoffs. It seems like there's a pattern forming here. Okay? Even though we have one of the best teams in the NFL, we can't do much in the postseason. And that's why we're here. That's why we play the game. We play the game to win the Super Bowl, not to have a winning record in the regular season and then crap the bed in the playoffs. Okay? 2013, another 8-8 season. We don't make the playoffs. 2014, we went 11-5, lose our very first game in the playoffs. 2015, we go 10-6, we win 1 and we lose 1. We're back at home again. Like I said, this is a pattern. And we don't play to be mediocre. We play to win the big game. And it seems like there's a pattern forming where he cannot get us over the hump. 2016, we go 11-5. We win 2 games. We lose 1. 2017, 13-3. One of the best teams in the NFL. We lose our very first game in the playoffs. 2018, 9-6 and 1. We don't even make the playoffs. 2019, 8-8, no playoffs. 2020, 12-4. Again, we have one of the best teams. Like I said earlier, this is a pattern. We have one of the best teams in the NFL and can't do anything with it. In my opinion, that's terrible. Like, how can you not get these guys to the big game and win the big game? You can't even, do good in the playoffs. 2020, 12-4, 0-1 in the playoffs. 2021, 9-7 and 1, 0-1 in the playoffs.
Okay.
2022, we go 9-8, no playoff appearance. 2023, we go 10-7 and we lose the first game. This is a pattern. Like I keep saying, I want you guys to understand we play the game to win the championship, not to get bounced in the first round. This is just like a pattern that everybody is starting to get used to, even though you shouldn't be used to losing. Even though he has a winning record, he's not winning when we need the win. People at home, everybody in the courtroom, in the last 5 playoff games, we've allowed 40.4 points scored on us, okay? We have 5 straight playoff losses, allowing 31 or more points. We're 8-10 in the playoffs. We've been outscored 122-47 in the first half of the last 5 playoff games. There are 23 teams that have won a playoff game since our last win in the playoffs. We're 3-9 in the last 12 playoff games and only won a playoff game in 4 of his 17 seasons. So in Mike Tomlin's career, we only won a playoff game in 4 of his 17 seasons. He's taken Bill Cowher's team to the Super Bowl, and the other time that we played Green Bay, we lost under his tenure. If that's not mediocre, I don't know what is. I just want you guys to really think and understand where we're at today and what we're doing, what we've been doing. And it seems like a lot of the time we're depending on other teams to either win or lose because he can't get us over the hump. Just think about that for a minute, guys. And whenever you guys do think about it, I need you guys to voice your opinion. And that is my closing statement, sir.
Thank you. We'll go back to the defense for Cross.
Thank you, Judge Duke Brown. I'd like to ask the prosecution a question, if I might.
Go ahead.
Attorney Wax Cochran, you went to law school.
Yes, sir.
So, in sustaining grades, what would you say was easier? Earning an A or keeping an A?
Well, in my opinion, keeping an A was easier because as soon as I reached the goal that I was trying to reach, I applied everything that got me there and kept doing it.
Okay, good answer. How about you, Judge? You went to law school and then judge school. What was easier for you? Non-biasedly and non-rhetorically answering this question, might I add?
I would say I would agree with Attorney Cochran. I would say keeping the A.
Okay.
After you get the A, then it makes it easier to keep it.
For me, it was a little bit more difficult. For me, it was a little bit more than meets the eye. I'd say it was quite a bit difficult to sustain that A. Earning it was no problem, but keeping it, depending on the curriculum that they had, the effort that it went to put into that, because in some cases you may or may not have to put more effort than the other person beside you. Now, you might say that was Bill Cowher's team. I say he took that team and he moved the pieces around. And by him, I'm saying Coach Tomlin moved the pieces around where they needed to be. My biggest argument isn't with you people at home or with you, Attorney Cochran. It's with the simple fact of the truth. And the fact of the matter is, a coach's job, his responsibility, his due diligence to the team is to put the people in the place to make the plays. Now, he said that was Bill Cowher's team, so at this point I'd like to highlight what he did with Bill Cowher's team. He sustained success the very next year, not in a fiscal year. So we won in 06 with Bettis. Bettis and Bill Cowher retires. Now that same team could have very well fell apart, but it didn't. He had enough gumption, enough intestinal fortitude to pick that same team up and continue with success in sustaining that A. He had that team, what you call as Bill Cowher's team, and made them an impactful team. He managed the roster, made key professional decisions, and adapted to the team's playing style, Wax. That same team that wasn't his, it was someone else's baby. Do you know how hard it is to come into an already made situation and control it? That'd just be like going into an already made family and becoming that last missing piece, that father that was desired. And that's what this guy at question was to a lot of the team members that he had today and so many that came before him.
Objection, Your Honor.
On what grounds?
That's hearsay.
No. That's not hearsay.
Specific.
That's what he did.
That's...
Order. We're going one at a time here.
You had your moment,
Go ahead.
Wax Cochran.
I'm
like
just
to have
objecting. I'm just objecting.
Your objections
because
are-
that is hearsay. Nobody.
Your objections are
Order in this court.
Yes, sir, Your Honor.
This is a place of profession.
Yes, sir, Your Honor.
Go ahead
That
and
is
finish your
hearsay.
case.
Tomlin.
Overruled. Keep going with
Thank
it.
you, Your Honor. Let me emphasize his ability to take new talent and develop it. Not only that, he fostered the winning culture and showcased the ability to contribute to the team in every facet. In some cases, or in most cases, and I want to paint this picture for you guys at home. He may have been the only father figure that some of these young men had.
Objection, Your Honor.
Your Honor.
On what ground? On what ground, sir?
Nobody said that he was a father figure. He's younger. He's just as young as the players playing the game. This is hearsay, like I said before.
You can have mentors your age. Just look at us.
But father figures, I think not.
Just
sir.
look at us.
I think not.
You
sir.
guys have been mentors
I
to
think
me,
not.
and you guys are young.
I've never looked up to anybody my age and thought of him as a father figure.
Well, that's
Order in the court.
That's you.
And I'm sure every other man on this planet has never thought of somebody their age as a father figure.
If he's their age, he may be like a brother to absorb and bounce information off.
Thank you, sir. You
But
just made my point.
Let me tell you this.
So
he was 36 years old. Your Honor.
Order.
Yes, sir. Your Honor.
His objection is sustained. Please move forward with the...
Your Honor, if I can point out, at 36 years old, you let me know what NFL player is still around. 36 years old, you're a dinosaur. These guys are 21, 19, 20, coming into the league into a harsh reality that they're not ready for, Your Honor. They're just not. Now, you want to talk about the truth? They can't handle the truth, and neither can you. This young man was a father figure. There's not a 36-year-old NFL player playing to date, and if he is, he's a lineman. And no disrespect to the lineman, but God dog it, he was an inspiration to a city who had an oblique hope of a chance. And you're not about to take that away from him. You're just not. Your Honor, I'm done with my cross-examination.
We'll send that over to Attorney Cochran. Do you have any statements to...
Yes, I do, sir. And I would also like to say that there has been a couple of different years where we had the best team in the NFL. A couple years. Like, I can recall when we had the Killer Bees. We had Brown, we had Bell, and we had Ben. And we could never get past 1 or 2 rounds of the playoffs to win the big game. We don't play this game to have a winning season in the regular season and then lose in the playoffs. We play this game to win the big game, which he has not been doing. This has been, I would say, mediocre. That is the key word today. It is mediocre. We cannot win the big game. And when we do get into the playoffs, it's usually a fluke because we need other teams to win or lose. After Jerome Bettis retired, we have not been the same team.
He's the most consecutive non-losing season coach tenure.
In the regular season.
17 seasons.
In the regular season.
So does that not account for something?
It accounts for the regular season. We do not play the game to have a winning record in the regular season and then get bounced in the playoffs. That's not why we play this game.
Well, then why do we play it?
We play this game
to win, and that's what he's been doing.
To win Super Bowls.
Now you keep moving the
I am not moving
goalpost back.
the goalpost. This guy is mediocre at best.
He's
and
hired to
it
win.
is too. Listen, the
he's
Steelers
done
organization has 6 Super Bowls, and we are tied with New England Patriots with the most Super Bowls in the NFL.
Bill Belichick is a creative genius.
And that's what separates Bill Belichick from Mike Tomlin. Whenever we play
They're parallel.
great coaches,
They're
excuse me,
parallel.
sir. Excuse me. I let you have your time. Now it's my time.
Good grief.
Whenever we play great coaches, we get out-coached. Every playoff game since I can remember under Tomlin's rule, we went down 21 points before we even score. Think about that. 21 points. So that means I'm spotting the other team 21 points before we even get to going. Think about that. That is terrible. It's not mediocre. That is terrible. We cannot get to the big game. And even when we do, like when we play the Green Bay Packers, we lost. We have not reached the Super Bowl under a Mike Tomlin team. Think about that. Like I keep saying, we play this game to win Super Bowls, not to have a winning record, 8-8. I wouldn't even call that a winning record. It's just not a losing record. 8-8 is not winning. That's mediocre at best. Even when we do have winning records, 12-4, we crap the bed. And the Steelers are so loyal, they're loyal to a fault, and it is killing us. And that's all I have to say, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right. Both good arguments. I have a few questions for you guys, and I'm going to bounce, and you can bounce them off with between each other. Some people say that Mike Tomlin's coaching tree leaves a lot to be desired. What do you guys have to say about his coaching hires? I'll start with attorney Illy Edgar Snyder. Do you think that his coaching hires have any bearance on his records?
To a point. Like you said, Your Honor, he's loyal to a default, so he's definitely going to take the brunt of that. Heavy is the head that wears the crown. So where you get the credit, the applause, the approval of your constituents, there you get the blame. So yes, it has factor in the winning comparison to the losing. But that would be like me blaming everybody that I hired on my success or the lack thereof. So with that being said, it has a lot to do with it, but it's not the meat and potatoes of the argument. I think we want to question if the guys that he picked lived up to the expectation of what he had for them. And I would say no. They haven't.
Okay, I'm going to send it over to you.
What was the question, Your Honor? I'm sorry.
Oh, I said about his coaching staff hires.
Oh, okay.
People say his coaching tree is not good.
All right, Your Honor. Let me just start off by saying, since we hired Matt Canada, we have not had a season, whether we passed or ran or combined, for over 300 yards. That is blasphemous as a Steeler. That is terrible. Like, it got to the point where in other sports, they were chanting to fire Matt Canada. Is that or is that not under Mike Tomlin's rule? Mike Tomlin hired this guy, brought him in, thought it was going to be all good, crapped the bed, goose eggs. As soon as Matt Canada got fired, we go for over 300 yards. Is it a coincidence? I think not. I think Matt Canada was holding us back, which is a Mike Tomlin hire. Before him, we had Randy Finkner. Where's he at now? Let me ask you guys that. Do you guys know where he's at?
From what I believe, he's not in the league.
Okay.
I'm not sure if he's coaching anywhere at the time at all. So.
He was the offensive coordinator from 2018 to 2020. A total of 3 years. We made the playoffs one time. And in that one time, we went 0 for 1. This is all under Mike Tomlin's rule. What I'm trying to do to you guys and you guys at home is point out that Mike Tomlin, even though he's a great guy off the field, on the field, he's trash. He's mediocre at best. And I know you guys know.
Objection, Your Honor.
On what grounds?
Mediocre at best, that's a personal opinion, and I think he should keep it to himself.
It's all stats.
Sustained.
These are all stats. I'm sorry if I said he's mediocre at best. He's just not that good. How about that? Does that
good.
Yeah.
He's won 17 years consecutively.
Yeah. But
what do you consider good? What do you have to do in order to please you?
Okay, in order to please me, you have to have more.
He's had 2 Super Bowl
Can
appearances.
I finish?
Go ahead.
You have to have more wins in the playoffs. You have to have at least 3 or 4 Super Bowl visits. At least. In 17 years. He has become the new Marvin Lewis. He's just like the coach for Cincinnati. Like, keep them around, make them, they're halfway decent. As soon as they go into the playoffs, they get bounced. That's not Steeler football. That's not Chuck Noll football. That's not the Rooney football. And all I'm trying to do is save the Steelers from being mediocre.
Well, if you're trying to save them so much, instead of spouting all these blasphemous terms about
These
our
are not
great
blasphemous
Mike
terms,
Tomlin,
sir. These are all
why don't you prove
facts.
some facts?
I
Like
have.
the fact that this young man has won 173 games.
Okay.
And only lost 100.
All right.
Now, dig it. That's a regular season.
Right.
In
How
his
about
career,
playoffs? How
in
about
his
playoffs?
career.
How about playoffs?
In his career.
We're not talking career.
He's
talking
won 181
playoffs.
games.
Just like Jim
And
Moore
he
said,
lost.
playoffs.
And he lost 110.
Playoffs?
With 2 ties.
Mm-hmm.
His average is 621.
All right, sir. He is 3-9.
That's above par.
In
That's
the last
above average.
3-9.
If you were a baseball player and you're batting 300,
is
you're average.
3-9.
He's 621.
In the last
baseball. This we're talking about.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you,
Judge. Thank you, Your
It's
Honor.
apples and oranges,
Please keep it in
but
the
it's
same-
still fruit.
Yeah.
It's still fruit.
In the playoffs, he is 8-10. Is that a winning record?
No, but
Okay.
overall,
Is that
what
a
is the
winning
bigger picture? Why do we
record?
hire him to win playoff games? Because
Yes.
if that's the case,
Yes, we
if that's
do.
the case, attorney Wax Cochran, we might as well just start coaching in the playoffs and
All
say
right.
screw the regular season.
We have to get to the playoffs.
And we do every single year.
No, we don't.
Your Honor,
And we've
I'd like
done-
that. I'd like that comment stricken from the record because there is no fact in that.
Sustained.
Thank you, sir. He
Please
is
take that off the record.
8-10 in the playoffs. 8-10.
Now
I'm sorry, Your Honor.
go ahead.
I was gonna say
continue.
8-10 is a losing record, if you ask me. I don't know how you guys see it, but I mean, if you win 8 games out of 18, you're a loser, sir. You're a loser.
All right. Well, let me ask you. I'll throw out another question. In the media, a lot of his players vouch for him. T.J. Watt was quoted as saying he wouldn't want to play for anybody other than Mike Tomlin. And a lot of his other players have said the same thing. What do you guys say to that? What do you say to that, Attorney
Can I go
Cochran?
first, sir?
Sure.
All right.
He's been talking the whole case, Your Honor.
I'm coming right back to you.
Thank you,
to you.
Your Honor.
Thank
I
you.
understand the passion, sir. I understand the passion. But how many Super Bowls has TJ won? That's the question. TJ Watt has been the player of the year, I want to say 2 times.
This isn't about T.J. Watt.
You're right. It's about the Steelers. But that's what he asked. He said, TJ Watt wouldn't want to play for anybody else. He hasn't had a chance
That
to play
speaks
for
for
anybody
itself.
else. Only because he's only been coached by one NFL coach.
What's wrong with that?
There's nothing wrong with it, but if you're not winning,
Please let him finish his remarks.
Oh my God.
We're
But-
civilized people here.
thank you, Your Honor. But if you're not winning, what's the point of being coached by a loser? You are one of the best defenders in the NFL and can't win one playoff game. I don't think TJ Watt won one playoff game since he's been there.
He hasn't.
The game isn't won and lost.
I rest my case, Your Honor.
You should rest the whole rest of your argument. But I'll remove that from the record, Your Honor. All I'm stating is that this young man over here is going off of personal opinion and his feelings.
These are not personal opinions, Your Honor.
He feels about a guy who has led us to the promised land twice. His job is to coach. Your Honor, this is my time to talk, and I expect him to be respecting my time to talk.
Yes, sir. You got it. You got it. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Your Honor. I'm sorry, people at home. I'm sorry, courtroom. My apologies.
So, like I was saying, Your Honor, he's passionately hating the defendant at hand because of how he feels. And you know what I'm starting to think? I'm starting to think that Vegas has something to do with it. His ties to Vegas, Your Honor. Because didn't you say you put a little something on the Cubbies to win the World Series?
I sure did. I sure did.
So, with that being said, I feel like the disappointment is more to your pocket. Because I know.
Your Honor, there is no way you're going to sit here and talk about my pocket.
Yes, I'm going to talk about your pocket.
He's 4-17 in the playoffs.
No.
You are out of order.
Out of order? This whole damn courtroom is out of order.
See how he is? See how he is? If he doesn't get his way, he throws a tantrum.
Another outburst like that, sir, and you'll be held in contempt.
Yes, sir.
This is a court of civility, and we will maintain our emotions at all times. Please continue your argument, sir.
Thank you, Your Honor. See, people at home, he's passionate, yes. Wax Cochran is very passionate about the Steelers. He loves them. He grew up on them. So did the rest of us. So did Your Honor, and so did myself. I remember being a young lad, wanting to grow up and one day playing in the NFL for a great team as the Steelers. And if I had done that, I would want no one else but Coach Michael Tomlin to be at the helm as I play that game that I so love. This has gotten so out of proportion as far as emotions because they run rampant. Yes, they do. I know at home that you guys are thinking, hey, let me stop what I'm doing because this is an awesome episode. Let me click like, subscribe, and or share. Because if you haven't by now, you're out of order. You know what? Your ass is out of order. Your ass is at home is out of order. If you're not clicking share, like, and subscribe. But back to what I was saying.
Sustained.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Hit the damn buttons.
Like I was saying, it's emotional right now in this courtroom. I can feel the energy. But I'm not about to let an innocent man get fried in the electrocution chair for absolutely no reason other than being a fantastic coach. That man is above boards when it comes to professionalism. And he needs a Nobel Peace Prize for what he's done to that franchise.
Until the playoffs. Do you know 23 teams have won a playoff game since our last victory?
Okay.
23 teams. Do you know we only won 4 playoff games in his 17 years as a head coach? We have been outscored 122 to 47.
Okay.
That's, 3 times the amount?
Okay.
That means when we get to the big game, we forget how to play.
No, we don't. What it means is that if I give you a ride and you forget how to walk once you get out of my car, that's not my fault. I gave you the ride.
Okay, but if I'm your coach, ain't I supposed to coach you on how to walk?
I already have. That's why we're here at the destination.
Am I supposed to coach you all the way till you get home?
I can't chew your food up for you and make you swallow it.
Or am I supposed to coach you until you get out and then pull off?
There is a point.
Answer the question.
Listen to me.
Edgar Snyder.
Answer
the question, Edgar Snyder.
I'm going to answer this question.
We are
the answer to the question
outscored.
The answer to the question is accountability.
Okay, so please take accountability for Mike Tomlin not getting us past the big game.
I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that.
Then you're the problem too.
No.
You're adding to the
You're
problem.
the problem.
You are adding.
You know why? Because you don't want to see a young man, as successful as he is, be triumphant. He deserves his flowers and them not to smell like shit. Because they say roses really smell like boo-boo, but this isn't the damn case.
All right, Edgar Snyder. Edgar Snyder, I will say this. I rooted for Mike Tomlin because A, he is a great coach in the beginning. He started out as a great coach. B, he's an African-American coach. There's only, 2 or 3 African-American coaches in the NFL to date.
Okay.
So he's already the underdog.
Right.
So I rooted for him his whole career. But after a while, I started to notice we can't even score in the playoffs. Do you guys remember when we played Denver?
I do.
First play
of a close game.
The first play of overtime. The first play of overtime. What happened?
But you said we didn't score. In order for it to be overtime, we had to score.
I'm not
we had
talking
to not
about
only have scored, but tied them and match their intensity.
I am not. I'm not talking about then. I'm talking about that game in particular.
Yes, it was an overtime.
Oh, okay, and what happened?
We had to score in order for it to become an overtime game.
The first play of overtime.
Coach Tomlin can't go in there and play for them.
He can't, but he can coach them on how to play.
He can, but they have to adjust on their own.
It's his job to coach.
Yes.
It's his job to put people in position to make plays.
Yes, and he did that. Thus, us getting to the playoffs, period.
All right. See, your thing is, you're just happy to get to the playoffs.
No.
That's what it sounds like. That's what it sounds like.
Because we do it so often, it almost feels like it's nothing new.
Well, we haven't won a playoff game in how many years?
I'll say 7.
Is that all right for you?
No, but in the whole grand scheme of things, that means all right 10 for years we have.
Do you know Nato Jacobs?
No.
Do you know Nato Jacobs?
No.
All right. So, I don't even know if that's correct, 7 years, but if he hasn't gotten a win in the playoffs in 7 years, that is not mediocre. That is trash, my friend. That is trash.
You and that same argument.
It's the same argument, but it
can go back to where you come from.
Facts.
In your rich mansion.
It is
with all of your tailor-made polo.
It is.
And live in your fantasy world
facts.
Thinking that Coach Tomlin is the problem. Because, by damn it, and I apologize for using that language in your courtroom, Your Honor, but by damn it, you're wrong. And you're wrong on every account. That young man has surpassed his expectations. That's why they keep re-signing him as head coach.
He
hasn't done anything wrong as far as preparing that team to the next destination.
I agree with you to a point, but he has not done everything right either.
Who can? There's not one person walking this earth's surface that does.
Andy Reid can.
Andy Reid
can. Bill Belichick can.
Well, why don't you do me a favor? Why don't you call Bill Belichick over for some scrumpets and tea?
Right.
And help him pick his new fucking team he's going to.
Okay.
So he can be the most winningest coach.
All I'm saying to you is, if you want to settle for mediocrity, by all means. But I'm not ready to settle.
Okay.
I want to win the big game. I want to get deep into the playoffs and go from there. We can't even get past the first round with Tomlin.
Can I say
this?
this?
So what is that saying? What is that telling you?
So you feel like we need a different coach?
I do. I really do.
So in your mind, different equals better, because it doesn't. Different doesn't always equal out to be better. It just equals out to be different.
As of right now,
I would rather go into
different
battle with a guy who's
better.
battle tested. Coach Tomlin is battle tested.
Who loses
He
in the
loses
playoffs?
because of injury.
Who loses?
Let's take this season.
In the playoffs.
Let's take this season.
Okay.
We were so focused on winning because of the quarterback that we were
I'm glad you brought that up.
to talk about
you brought
the
that
other
up.
situations that could have enabled us to win a little bit more.
I'm glad you brought that
There
up.
were so many positions that were vacant this year, this season, due to injury. You know, you have our safety position vacant due to injury. Our outside linebacker, our inside linebacker, some of our line vacant due to injury. You have a quarterback position
We
vacant
had
due to injury.
3 different quarterbacks rotating
Okay?
under Tomlin, meaning that he could not just pick one quarterback and stick with him. And when he finally did, he ends up getting hurt. And what does he do? He puts the worst quarterback in to try to lead us to victory.
He has to protect his investment.
And he crapped the bed.
And in some cases, if I get it, I got to give it to you the same way I got it. They paid for it.
Then he decides to put Mason Rudolph in, who actually does pretty well. Why? How could he not see that from the beginning to just start out with him?
I'm not
we
saying-
might
who's to say that he
have
didn't see
won. Well, he didn't do it.
He didn't
put
based
him
off
in.
the fact
So
that
then that means he didn't see it.
this goes back to
Mason
my
Rudolph
argument.
has been in the Steeler organization longer than both the quarterbacks above and below him.
Okay,
And he was third string.
but this goes
If
back.
you're a head coach, you should know who's better than who.
Yeah, he was supposed to start due to how his performance was in the
Okay,
preseason.
but he
That's
did
not
like
saying
you
anything.
said. Like you said, he didn't.
He didn't.
And we dropped.
And
We lost
in some
2
cases,
games.
you have to protect your
We
investment.
lost
If I
2
pick this
games.
quarterback up in order to play,
We lost 2 games to 2-9 teams.
Okay.
And got blown out.
Okay.
To 2-9 teams.
Right.
Under who? Under Mike Tomlin. Not getting them boys
But
ready to
it
play.
wasn't Mike Tomlin
Not
out there
getting
playing.
them boys ready to
We're
play.
missing the point.
He's terrible.
The point of the
He
fact of the
is
matter
terrible.
is, he put in a quarterback who he felt was going to fit the bill, who was going to represent the team in a fashion and in a way that we should have. But he didn't. That was a call to where he rectified it by putting the proper person in that personnel. Therefore, it enabled us to get into the playoffs once again.
Okay.
So that means he did his job. I don't care if I'm the last person handing in my last piece of paper at 5:59 and it's due at 6. I handed it in.
We did not get into the playoffs off the strength of our gameplay. We got into the playoffs because one team lost and one team won.
Can I ask you a question?
Please.
Attorney Wax Cochran?
Please.
You must give a shit about dogs a lot to the point where when you give a dog a bone, you care how the bone tastes, because I don't. Do you care about how that bone tastes for that dog?
I'm pointing out
Do you care about how that bone tastes for that dog?
No, I don't.
So therefore, why the hell do you care about how everything unravels under Tomlin's tutelage when it wasn't him who did it?
I'm going to tell you why. Because he didn't coach our boys to win the games we needed to win. That's why.
I know what you're thinking.
That's why.
I know what they're thinking, Wes.
And if I give a dog a bone,
Okay.
I don't need to know how the bone tastes. I already know. I ate the steak off of that motherfucker.
So it's delicious. Trust the process.
So I know what the...
So you're not asking that dog, hey, how's that bone taste?
Exactly.
You know that if I gave it to you, take recognition that you got the bone. That's why we use that bone reference. So if you're slow at home and ain't picking up on it, sorry. Went like that. But I need them to do us a favor, Wax.
Mm-hmm.
I need them to click like,
Right?
subscribe,
Okay.
and share this bad fella.
You heard him.
This
You
is the
heard
trial of Mike Tomlin, as Judge Dooley Brown would say, the trial of the century.
Mm-hmm.
So I want you guys to weigh in.
Yes, we want to hear your opinion. You're the jury. This is all for you to make your choice. We need to hear that in the comment section. And then we'll come back later and we'll get your verdict. We'll tally it up and we'll figure out what you guys feel. Because what you guys feel is what's the most important thing. How we feel is just how we feel. But how you feel is important to us as well. So we're going to tally it up and figure it out. But like I said, we got some spirited arguments here going on. And I still have a couple more questions that I need to ask. So going forward, do you think with how Mike Tomlin handled this season quarterback-wise and the whole Kenny Pickett situation, the Mitch Trubisky situation, the Mason Rudolph situation, do you trust Mike Tomlin's judgment on the quarterback situation? Because we all know in the NFL, you need a quarterback. You need a top-end quarterback. Do you trust that Mike Tomlin can, A, get a quarterback in here, B, groom him to be great? I'll start with whoever you want.
Can I go first?
Yeah, I'll start with Attorney
Cochran.
Wax Cochran.
Say the Cochran part.
I'll start with Attorney Wax Cochran.
All right, thank you, Your Honor. I'll start out by saying Mike Tomlin is a defensive head coach.
Okay.
He pretty much calls the defense. So even though he might have a little bit of background in the offensive plays, I don't think he has what it takes to make that decision.
That's why he doesn't. That's why he hires an OC.
Okay, so that's why we had the debacle of rotating 3 different quarterbacks this whole season.
Do you know how hard it is to run something? Let's just take our homes, for example.
Mm-hmm.
If we had to hire somebody in here to run the traffic in our homes, to make sure everybody gets to destinations, practice, events, work, do you know how difficult it would be if it wasn't you and somebody else had to do it for you? It'd be entirely difficult. Why? Because your wires and the person that's doing it for you will cross.
Objection, Your Honor.
On what grounds?
I gotta ask them.
I'm sorry.
On what grounds?
This is hearsay and it's opinionated.
It's not. It's
Because
facts.
if
you let
you
somebody
wrote-
else.
if
Okay, I
you
tell you
wrote-
what. Who picked your outfit out today?
If you wrote
Who picked your outfit out today?
an itinerary of where everybody has to go, it would be easier if somebody came in and controlled the
He's here
traffic.
dancing around the question, Your Honor.
I'm just
Will you make
stating
him answer
the
this
facts.
question, Your Honor?
If that's all they had to
Will you
do,
make Attorney Wax
if
Cochran
that's
answer this question?
all they had to do,
Who picked your clothes out?
it would be easy.
Who
Your
picked your
Honor.
clothes out for you? Who picked your clothes out for you to wear to this trial?
You know the answer to that.
I would like you to state to the people at home who picked your clothes
It
out.
wasn't somebody else.
Why?
Because-
It would be easy.
How do you figure?
Because you just said it would be easy if you had people running your shit for you, picking your clothes out and doing all the rest of the shit.
I said if they had an itinerary.
Okay, but being that you picked your clothes out, is it safe to say you picked them out?
Mm-hmm. It's safe to say that.
And you look quite dapper. You stay
and
polo
vice
down.
versa, sir.
Is that a polo?
And
there?
vice versa,
You stay
sir.
polo down. That my friend popping.
Thank you, sir.
But if you allow someone to pick your clothes out, you might as well let them help you eat, and they might as well help you in every facet of your life. Help you take
Objection, Your
shits
Honor.
and help you. You know what I mean? Pick your socks up and put. You know, like what the fuck. Now you got people following you around and helping
Objection,
you wipe your
Your
butt.
On what grounds?
On the grounds of he's trying to make a mockery.
I'm not
Out
making
of
a
the-
mockery.
out
I'm
of-
proving a point.
out
The point.
of
The
this
fact of the
topic.
matter is,
Out of this topic.
when you
He's making a mockery out of this topic.
you
Overruled, but
when-
this better be going somewhere.
It is, Your Honor. It is. When you have somebody playing proxy in your establishment that you create, home, work, wherever you're at, and they're not in alignment with you and your habits, your preparation, what you do as far as moving through and about your day, that creates havoc for you. So, with that being said, if Tomlin was able to call those calls and it wasn't an offensive coordinator, then by all means, blame away. But that responsibility is shared, but it's only when you want to point the finger does Tomlin have to catch the brunt of that. Your Honor, I'm going to conclude with that.
I'll ask you this, Ellie Edgar Snyder.
Ask away.
The two offensive coordinators that Tomlin has had in the prior couple of years, have they been successful?
Well, how do you measure success?
I measure success by playoff victories, not regular season.
I'm glad you're saying that.
I measure success by playoff victories. And have they been successful?
So let me ask you this.
Please answer
At
that
playoff
question.
victories?
Have they been successful?
At the overall picture, yes.
That's a lie. That's
Because
a bold-faced
their
lie.
record, their wins
You know that's a
are
lie.
a lot more
just
than their
as
losses.
well. You know that's a lie just as well as I do.
I didn't know you were so focused
And
on playoff wins, because if that's the case,
right now, we are on our third offensive coordinator who we had to hire in-house.
if that's the case,
In-house.
If that's the case,
Because we
and
didn't
this
have
is
no
no
more
disrespect to
options.
the Detroit Lions, but the Detroit Lions are the best team that ever played the game. If that's the case, because this is their first time since 1991.
That is apples and
And you're
oranges.
up here saying that
That
it's
is
about playoff
apples
wins.
and oranges.
Because you're saying it's about playoff wins. So right now, Detroit is winning. So you must be a Detroit Lions fan.
That's not even close, Your Honor. That's not even close.
You
That's,
have
that,
to be.
that has
If
nothing
it's
to do
about
with my
playoff
argument.
wins, yeah, you must be a Buffalo Bill fan.
Not at all, sir.
You have to be. Because
Not at
if it's about playoff wins, they're the only team I know that wins throughout the playoffs but loses the big dance. They did it 5 times damn near, because this last time should have equaled up to the 5th time because they got to the second round. If that's what you mean by playoff wins.
That has nothing to do with what I'm talking about.
Because you're saying playoff
Because
wins.
if you're talking about playoff wins, why wouldn't you just say the Chiefs?
The Chiefs, they more or less win the champion Super Bowl.
Exactly.
So, I mean, is
The
that who you're
whole
comparing
reason
us to?
we play this game.
Oh, so
The
you're an Andy
whole
Reid fan. So you
reason
want us to
we
fire
play this
Tomlin to
game.
get Andy Reid.
That's not what I said.
Let me write a letter to Andy
That's
Reid.
not what I said.
Dear Andy
But-
Reid, Wax wants to fire Tomlin and hire you.
Not at all. But would I take him over Tomlin? Of course I would. You want to know why?
Why?
Because he wins the big game. He takes his team to the playoffs most of the time
It's not
and gets
personnel wise.
over the
It's not
hump.
personnel wise.
But
It's not
even-
for the simple fact he has the best quarterback.
Even if
in
it
the
was
NFL.
personnel
It
wise,
is.
because we had the best quarterback in the league, we had the
And we
best
went to the
receiver,
dance twice.
we had the best running back, and we crapped
we
the
proved.
bed, and we crapped the
One
bed,
and one.
and we crapped
one
the
and
bed.
one. Is 1 and 1 crapping the
4
bed to y'all?
years in 17 head coaching seasons.
Okay.
4 years that we won a playoff game. That's terrible.
How many Super
With
Bowl
the best team
appearances
in the
have we had?
NFL, at least 3 or 4
Okay.
consecutive years.
Okay, let me ask you this then.
At least.
Your Honor, I'm going to ask your permission to call him a smartass. Would I be able to ask him a question by referencing to him as a smartass?
Go ahead.
Hey, smartass. If you're such a smarty pants, and this is Bill Cowher's team, how many times did Bill Cowher get him to the big dance?
What, the Super Bowl?
Yes, sir.
2 times.
And what did he do?
He went 1-1.
I rest my case.
Okay, but this trial isn't about Bill Cowher.
No,
This trial is about Mike Tomlin.
it is.
Okay,
But
so the
great
comparison.
Bill Cowher did the
but
same exact thing.
And let me tell you
But
this.
in more time.
And let me tell you
It
this.
took him longer to do
Let
it.
me explain this, though. Before Bill Cowher took him to the Super Bowl, they were calling for his job.
They should have. That coach was
All right.
mediocre.
All right.
They should have.
Okay.
And I'm sorry for y'all at home. They're
Okay.
like, God damn it, Bill Cowher's a hell of a coach.
But
I apologize.
because of the loyalty of the Steelers, we suffer. And that's what's happening today. We're suffering because they're too loyal to say, you're mediocre, but, I mean, you did a good job for us, but we have to look other places to get a better coach.
Right.
And that's because they're loyal to a fault.
And I just want to say this. Bill Cowher got there in 90. He didn't sniff a Super Bowl appearance till 1995, to which he lost his first appearance.
Okay, but we're not talking
Tomlin,
about
on the
Bill
other
Cowher.
hand, it took him one season.
With whose team? Bill Cowher's team.
Okay, well, it gave him an opportunity to do it a little bit better because his first dance, he didn't lose.
All right, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, we had a heated debate, a lot of passion, a lot of facts, a lot of emotion involved. I'm going to give it to each attorney for their closing statements. I want to wrap this up and want to send you into the room to deliberate. Don't talk about this with anybody else except if you're going to share it. You know the rules when you're a jury. You stick to the facts. You stick to the case. Leave the emotion out of it. Look at what you feel. I'm going to send it to Attorney Wax Cochran.
Thank you, Your Honor.
For his closing statements.
All right. Thank you. For my closing statements, I just want to point out the facts one more time so you guys can think about it and then make your opinion and cast your vote. Okay? In the last 17 years, we have been to the Super Bowl twice. One with another man's team, one with who we're talking about's team, Coach Tomlin. Under his team, we lost that big game. Under his regime, we won one and we lost one. In 17 years, we've been outscored by 3 times the amount of every other team we played in the playoffs. This is not an attack on Mike Tomlin, the man. This is an attack on Mike Tomlin, the head coach. He's just not that great anymore. He had his nice little run, but never got us to the big dance in I don't know how many years. And if you guys can settle for mediocrity, by all means, please settle. But I'm looking for the future. I'm waiting until we get back into the big game and deep into the playoffs and actually look like an NFL team where we don't have to depend on other teams to win or lose. And that is my closing statement, Your Honor.
All right, I'm going to send it to Attorney Illy Edgar Snyder for his closing statements.
In conclusion, Your Honor, Attorney Wax Cochran, you people at home, I'd like to just state the obvious, state the facts, and leave you guys with this. Tomlin's worst seasons, which there was only 3 of them, 2012, 2013, and 2019. His records was 8-8. Now, if you call that a losing season, I don't know how to help you because you just don't know what losing is. Now, outside of that, no other legendary NFL head coach can say they stayed at an astounding 500 or above for 17 consecutive seasons at the helm. Not only that, who's been consistent and successful at leadership, commitment, on and off the field, commitment to diversity, the ability to take negative challenges and make a compelling case moving forward with his tenure here with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, why I acknowledge the playoff challenges, which we've had a bunch of them. The team's history is highlighted with Tomlin's overall impact. And not only that, his on and off the field positive culture instilling attitude. The broader picture, I guess, that I'm trying to paint is that he's the best interest that this team has to sustain success and long-term stability. Not only that, his track record of adaptability is contributing to players and the development, underscoring to his significance to Pittsburgh as a whole, his resilience, the positive team culture that he's fostered the acknowledgement of every argument that strengthens against what I'm trying to propose here. Our team's success is on the back of Coach Tomlin. I wouldn't have it any other way, and I'm sure that you people at home feel the same way. As a key figure in these arguments on this trial, I want you to know that if he is reinstated back to this team as far as a contract renegotiation after next year, I'm sure that we will have continued prosperity in the city of Pittsburgh. Your Honor, I rest my case, and I appreciate you guys at home listening.
Thank you, gentlemen. We're going to send you guys back home to deliberate. We want you to search your thoughts, search your feelings, search your hearts. You know, before you do that, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Let us know how you're feeling. And with that, this trial of Mike Tomlin is adjourned.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you, gentlemen.
Judge.
Peace.